I never pretend to know exactly what a jury's going to do. I've been fooled way too many times, and once in a very big way. So you never know what 12 people in a room are going to do. But what I do know is historically, the overwhelming number of defendants who are charged with red rum are guilty of red rum. Many of them enter pleas, some don't. Those that don't are overwhelmingly convicted at trial. So, am I surprised that this woman was convicted? No. Was this a tough one for the jury? Yes. They sent a note saying they were deadlocked earlier in the day. The judge sent them back out like every judge does. And whoever was holding out or whoever had some reasonable doubt was brought over to the other side. And as we sit here today and tonight, Melody Farris is now guilty. I'm Vinnie Politan, lead anchor for Court TV, and this is Vinnie Live.
Hey, get ready, get set, let's go.
It's true crime, streaming live, worldwide. It's Vinnie Live. It's true crime, streaming live, worldwide. It's Vinnie Live. Get ready. So post inside the chat. Get ready for the prosecutor hat. Get set to like and to subscribe. Let's go. It's time for Vinnie Live.
All right, here we go. Got a little live video for you right now. In the aftermath, just moments ago, Melody Farris convicted of all charges across the board. And that means one thing and one thing only in the great state of Georgia where I live. Game over. It's game over. Unless she wins some appeal, it's done. It's over. She'll never be free again. That's the story. That's the big headline today, folks. Yeah, it was a guilty verdict. And let me tell you, the delivery of this verdict could not have been more dramatic. It could not have been more dramatic. And the reason I say that is the way it went down. I don't know if you were watching, but the judge basically said, foreperson, just read the verdict, say what the charge is. And the foreperson chose to start from the bottom charge up and started on count 5. So as each guilty was being read, maybe, you think, well, they found me guilty at the bottom, but maybe it's a compromise, maybe for doing something to the corpse, and then they got up to number 2 and it was over, and then number 1 and it was really, really over. So, wow, what a day, what a moment. But this is what you have to understand. I mean, in every single case, understand that the overwhelming majority of people, way overwhelming majority of people who are charged in red rum cases are guilty. Okay? There might be some arguments, and some of them is it, first degree, second degree, MS, you can have those arguments, but they're overwhelmingly guilty. Okay? It's not Law and Order where you flip a coin, maybe they arrested the right person, maybe they didn't. No. Overwhelming majority, they have. And then those who don't plead guilty, which is, again, the overwhelming majority of them, those that decide to go to trial, that don't take some sort of a deal or admit their guilt, they are overwhelmingly found guilty by juries, which is why many times defense attorneys say a hung jury is a victory for them. Anything short of a conviction is a victory. So in this case, this is what usually happens. So I've gotten to the point after 2+ decades of high-profile trials, coast to coast, state to state, jurisdiction to jurisdiction, that I am never, ever, ever surprised, shocked, or floored by a guilty verdict, because that's usually what happens. Okay. To me, there's always a little extra shock when they say not guilty, regardless of the scenario going in, the strength or weakness of a case. To me, not guilty is always more shocking, because then you're saying that all these investigators, all these lawyers, all the resources of the prosecutor's office got it wrong. Got it wrong. So that's, that's where I kind of land on all of this. By the way, we're streaming live on my Facebook page, Twitch, and X, and my YouTube channel and the Court TV YouTube channel. So welcome to all the folks from Court TV who are watching right now in the aftermath of all of this as well. I got to keep my eye on my phone, just because with the verdict happening and getting ready for the big show tonight, got to make sure I stay on top of all developments. All right. So anyhow, yes, this case, there were great arguments, and there was another suspect, and the defense actually pointed the finger at someone inside the courtroom. This is Perry Mason stuff. This doesn't normally happen. It is rare that a defense attorney will actually point the finger and say, that person sitting right there, you see him, ladies and gentlemen, that's the person who did this. That's what they did with her son, the son of the victim, Scott Farris. Now, it transformed this trial, when you do that, into much more of a whodunit type of situation, and you can weigh the evidence against either. Excuse me. The jury has to look at that, and the thing is, when you point the finger at someone, you don't have to prove it against them beyond a reasonable doubt. You just have to raise the specter of them being a reasonable alternative to what the prosecution is saying. And if you have, some circumstances surrounding that, like you did in this case, that make him look a little suspicious, but there were things that made her look really bad. Let's be honest. The phone calls, the demeanor, the lack of anything from her did not help her. Like this, you're married to this guy for 38 years. You got 4 children together. Like, could you be a little upset that someone took him out? I don't know. She showed some emotion when the kids testified and all. I get it, but it wasn't there. It can't be used against her, but she didn't tell a story. She didn't tell this jury a story on the stand. So they had nothing to weigh there. What they had was everyone close to her believed she did it, and it came out. Now, there could be a problem potentially on appeal if that stuff comes out. I'm just getting a note here. But at the end of the day, like, everyone close to her, it is rare. It is absolutely rare that the children of the defendant in a spousal case like this will believe that their own parent is guilty, whether it's a mother or a father. I've seen it both situations. It's rare. It is rare. Here, like from Jump Street, like right out of the box, Scott was pointing the finger at her. Now, obviously, the defense tried to turn that around, saying that's like deflection. Here was the biggest problem I had with Scott Farris being responsible for doing this, is that if he was doing it for money, he would have to ensure that she gets convicted. So his plot would be, I take out dad and then I frame mom. And the investigators, the prosecutor, and the jury all believe it. That would have to be his plan to get the money. Otherwise, it goes to her. So, and maybe, right out of the box, he's suspecting his mother and pointing out his mother to investigators. So yeah, you can make that argument, but that's not a sure thing. That's not a sure thing. You see, that would be like, I comparing this to the Menendez brothers for whatever reason. Menendez brothers, the problem I have with them is taking out both parents, because why would you do that? Well, then you get all the money. This guy didn't take out both. So he's not guaranteed the money. He only gets the money if things turn out the way they did. Now you can say, oh, look how they turned out. But you go back. I mean, we're going back to 2018. It's taken 6 years to get to this point. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's a viable plan, and if that was his motivation, was the money. Like, there could have been an argument. His father could have called him out. I get all of that. But then let's get back to everyone. Like, the children, all 3 of the 4 believe she did it. The 4th was like, well, I don't want to believe that. I want to presume her innocent until it's proven to me otherwise. All right. So she took the stance of, no, I'm not going to presume that my mother did it, but my brothers and my sister do, but I don't, which is understandable. And that's how most children react. The adult children will react in these cases. And there are some, even with DNA evidence, will not believe, like DNA blood evidence, will not believe that their parent is responsible for the demise of their other parent. They just won't. It's a hard pill to swallow, but 3 of them here did. To me, it speaks volumes. You know who else did? Her boyfriend, Rusty. Like, Rusty, when push came to shove, said, yeah, I think she's capable. Like, everyone around her believes she's capable of this. The people closest to her, which in my eyes makes it easier for a jury. Like, well, if her kids think she did it and her lover thinks that she could have done it, then if the evidence is there, I should really have no problem in convicting her. And those were some of the things I was looking at here. But I was really troubled by the phone call from the early morning hours of July 4th. The phone call was made, so there's records of the phone call. The question is, what was discussed in that phone call? Rusty originally implicates her talking about the burn pile before anyone knows anything about the burn pile. And if the jury believes that, then it's over. It's over. She knows. She knows he's in the burn pile. That is consciousness. That is like an admission. It's not a complete confession, but it's close enough. That she is saying that he's in the burn pile. Early morning hours of July 4th. He's not found till July 5th. Now, again, you can argue that, hey, Scott did it. She knew it and she was covering for him. But then she said that she wasn't covering for him. In another phone call, she said she wouldn't cover for him. So, which way is it? At the end of the day, this was like all prosecutors don't like to bring cases that they don't believe they can win. Remember that too. They don't just bring cases willy-nilly. There is some thought, there is some filtering that goes through all of this. There is discussion, there is debate. Which is why sometimes you see cases where we all think, oh, it's obvious who did it, but prosecutors don't bring the charges because they don't believe they have the evidence to prove it. Because they bring the case, then something like this happens where some members of the public have a problem with it and some members of the jury have a problem with it. And there was a deadlock this morning that got unlocked by the afternoon, which is common. But once it gets unlocked, which way are they going? Well, it seems that if that's the case, the minority, whether it's one or more, the minority of the jurors were either in the not guilty column or something less than all the charges. And they came over, and it was a complete sweep for the prosecution today, complete victory. So what I really want to do here is get your reaction as well, kind of get your temperature on all of this. And I look at this, and there's still the one bothersome fact is if it happens in the house and he ends up in a burn pile, he's 330 pounds of dead weight. That's a tough haul. That's a tough haul. It is. Now, what's also interesting is the jury could believe that Scott is involved as well and maybe helped his mother. Right? That doesn't make her not guilty, though. But this was a challenge for prosecutors because of that issue. You don't have the weapon. And Scott is doing some suspicious things that just, you look at it and you're like, what's really going on there? And then their demeanor was very unusual as well. It's a very unusual dynamic between mother, father, son in all of this. and there was drama, and obviously all the drama gets escalated to the point of no return when dad ends up in the burn pile. So once again, folks, hit the like button and please subscribe on YouTube. If you're coming over from Court TV, make sure you like it on my side too, Vinnie Politan 1. And all the folks watching on mine, go over to Court TV, like it over there, and subscribe to both channels. Facebook, please share, please follow. X, please retweet. And of course, our Twitchers, keep spreading the word on Twitch. We're starting to grow. We're starting to grow. Those numbers are building on Twitch. By the way, if you follow me on Twitch, you get notifications much more consistently than you do anywhere else. By the way, folks, we're over 5,000 live right now here at 4:55. 5,000 live viewers on all the channels. So I'm going to go through here, get some of your reaction, and I'll react to your reaction. How does that sound? That's a plan. That's the plan today. I'll react to your reactions. And Linda Joyce is happy with this. Woohoo. Now, that's either for the verdict or for the live stream, or it could be for both. All right. Thank you so much, Linda. And we'll celebrate with you on March 17th with that shirt. Fantastic. All right. She Jukester. Finally, this evil gets locked up. She's been free for a while. Yeah, very unusual. Very unusual to be free on charges like this in the state of Georgia. But she was. She is free no longer. She will never be free unless she wins an appeal. And let me just tell you something about the Georgia Supreme Court. They hold prosecutors to their, to ensure they don't violate anyone's constitutional rights. We've had two very high profile red rum cases that have been overturned recently. One was the hot car case. That case was overturned. He was set free. And the other one was Tex MacGyver. That was overturned. He was set free. So, in this case, if there are issues, the Supreme Court of Georgia will look at it very, very closely. They're not afraid to overturn red rum convictions. Sally Vella, I thought it was a hung jury. Well, they sent out a note saying they were hung, but under our system of justice, it's not over till it's over. Usually, in most jurisdictions, you need to send 2 notes. Some, it's 3 notes to say, but the judge will often send them back. Sometimes they just send them back. It continues. Sometimes they'll send them back with a specific dynamite charge or an Allen charge instruction to kind of try to get them to really work it a little bit. I think it's silly. I think if they send and they're hung, they should be hung. I don't like forcing them into a verdict, but it is the law. It's been upheld. It's the way we do it in our system. It takes 2, in some jurisdictions, 3 notes from the jury saying you're deadlocked before they're going to call it a day. So here it was just 1 note, and then that was in the morning, and then in the afternoon. Marianne Spence. I know the judge sent them back to deliberate. Are we sure they found her guilty? I watched it live on Court TV. Yeah, all 5 charges, but very dramatic reading of the verdict by the foreperson, starting with count 5, starting with the least serious and working the way up to count 1. So it was guilty. All right, Caius Posthumus Turinus. So who thinks she pulled this off all by herself? I think it's a challenge. I think it's a challenge to say that there wasn't some help somewhere by someone, but who? An unindicted co-conspirator, maybe after the fact in moving the body. I don't know. They didn't have evidence of who did it. They didn't accuse anyone of doing it. That doesn't mean someone didn't do it. She could have had help. If that actually happened, like she's responsible, but someone helped, will she now try to use that information to lower her sentence? Stay tuned, maybe, because she knows it's like automatic in Georgia. You're going nowhere. You're going nowhere. All right. Gen X is here leading our mod squad, keeping order in the chat.
Order in the chat. Order in the chat. Don't dare attack. We've got order in this chat. The mod squad is on the job, helping us to keep it clean. The mod squad is on the job, always so nice and never mean. So let's give it up and say hello to the three amazing ladies running the show. Gen X, let's make some noise. Frankie Figs, let's clap our hands. And Jennifer Sue Bay, let's raise the roof. Order in the chat. Order in the chat. Don't dare attack. We've got order in this chat.
All right, keep an order in the chat. Gen X, Frankie Figs, Jennifer Sube, thank you as always, doing an amazing, amazing job here. Elaine today. Oh, well, looks like the juror stole the Grinch's Christmas this year. Yeah, she's not going home for Christmas. My question is, what's the plan for Thanksgiving for the four siblings? Are we getting together for Thanksgiving? You think there's going to be like tension or like, you know, could you imagine? Could you imagine? After all your family's dirty laundry gets aired, you know, coast to coast for 4 weeks. It's tough, but you know, that's the way it works when someone ends up in a burn pile. It's just par for the course. But yeah, it's going to be, I feel bad for the grandkids, really bad for the grandkids. No grandpa, no grandma. Pat Kolakowski, justice for Gary. Absolutely. Because if the jury comes back and says not guilty, there's no justice for the victim because there's no answer to the question and no one is held responsible. Like let's say, for instance, she didn't do it and she was found not guilty, then where there would be no justice for the victim because no one else is going to get charged. Like it's not going to happen. I mean, it may have happened like a few times through the years where one person is found NG not guilty, then all right, well, who are we going to charge now? That's not the way it works. So it is justice today. That's important. Please share and follow. Thanks. That's man. We got folks on Facebook and on YouTube, and of course on X. Oh, Lore. Buzzkirk Perella, shocked, state of shock. Never be shocked by guilty. I'm telling you right now, if there's a lesson that you can learn from this case, if there's a lesson to learn from this case, learn the lessons of history. I've been doing this for a long time, hundreds and hundreds of high-profile cases. You can be shocked by not guilty, but never be shocked by guilty. Just, you can't. You can be like, wasn't expecting that necessarily, but don't be shocked because that's what normally happens. And I get it. This was a case where there were opportunities for a jury to latch onto something and say, hey, I've got a doubt. And at least one did this morning. At least one did. They spent more than 15 hours deliberating this. And someone was holding on to that not guilty for a while. At least one, may have been more, but they finally let go. But great to see you guys all dressed up with the shades and all. Good stuff. Mm-hmm. Here's Gen X decoding red rum. Decoding red rum. It's just easier. It's just easier. Finally, says Mooney. Finally, it has happened. Good, says Vivian Weber. Indeed. Got over 5,600 watching right now, folks. We got a big one going here. Oh, there we go. Hey, Vinny, Gina from the gym. She's working out. I mean, she's got the personal trainer. She is working it like what, 3-4 times a week. So happy about this verdict. Justice for Gary. Thank you, Gina. Great to see you. I'll see you at the probably at the bench press. Okay, Peter. Peter's upset. You can't get a fair trial today. Shake my head. They were hung and the judge sent them back. Well, I agree with you. I'm not a big fan of that sending them back. I'm not. But it's the law. It's been upheld. And I'm trying to think of a time where they got sent back and they came back not guilty. I don't know if I know of a time like that. I don't know. But it is problematic for me because the jury has spoken. I said, listen, we're deadlocked. And then we give them this instruction where we speak out of both sides of our mouth. When I say we, me as a representative of our system of justice, we speak out of both sides of our mouth, like we did in the Karen Reed case, where we say, hold on to your beliefs, but, think about it, but hold on to your beliefs, blah, blah, blah. Like if they say they're hung, they're hung, but that's not the way it works. Sometimes they get sent back twice, Peter, believe it or not. And this has nothing to do with my belief of guilty or not guilty in this case. It's just my take on the system. And I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair. I think if they say hung, they're hung. That's their verdict. And maybe that should be on the verdict sheet. We can agree, right? You can check guilty, not guilty. We don't agree. The problem is, and this is where our system is not being honest with itself. Okay, our system of justice not like, and the law says, hold on to your, your firm beliefs. Hold on to your actual beliefs. Don't compromise your beliefs. But then we try to force them to compromise their beliefs. It's very disingenuous by our system of justice and the case law that supports it all. I mean, really, it should be a choice: guilty, not guilty, or we don't agree. And that should be the verdict. We don't agree. Right? And then you should have to put the scorecard in there. You should definitely have to put the scorecard. If you're not going to agree, you need to tell us what the score was at the end. I think that transparency works. But Peter, I get it. And I agree I agree, but that's not the case law. And that's not the way it goes in any jurisdiction where we've covered cases. Like I said, some of them, they'll send them back twice. Holy Land fan, jurors got it right. Whew. Whew. All right, Frankie Figs is here saying hello to everybody. Sarah's crochet and so on. I'm glad she was found guilty. Justice for Gary. Yeah, I think Gary, to a certain extent, got a little lost in all of this. Like, he got taken out by his own family. That's bad. No marriage is perfect. No parent is perfect. No family is perfect. We all have issues. We all have drama. There's only been one perfect being that has ever walked the earth. But Gary, it seemed like he did his best. Like, you cannot minimize the fact that this man was a provider for his family. He worked hard and he provided. And he provided for his children way into adulthood. And provided for his wife of 38 years, despite the fact that they were not seemingly a traditional husband and wife. Living on separate floors, living separate lives. I don't want to judge, but when it ends up with somebody in a burn pile, you have to judge. And that's the job. And that's what the jury did here. Justice for Gary. Jill Vaughn on YouTube. Hooray, that woman was terrifying to watch. She did herself no favors being this ice queen here. And you don't stand for the jury? What? How do you not stand for the jury? Awesome. EA, cheesiest intro ever. Do you want to hear it again? Was it the intro for the Mod Squad or for the show? At 4:41, it was for the show because it was at 4:41. I'm play it again at the end for you, EA. You listen to it a few times, it starts to, and if I don't play it, you'll miss it. Seahawk, may you rest in peace, Mr. Gary. Yeah. And I wonder what that moment was like. Did he know what was about to happen? Did he know that Melody was going to take him out? Debbie Coppola, red tie tonight. Yes, we'll be sporting the red tie tonight for sure. Tomorrow night, tune in tomorrow night. I've got a special interview in studio with the defense team. How about that? With the defense team tomorrow night on my show. Make sure you are watching. Oh, yes. The Vinnie Live song. I need to load that. Yes, you are correct. I'm going to load that. I got to load the Blood Sugar song up too as well. I just haven't done that. What's good is I'm going to have a nice little around during the holidays. I'm going to have some time to kick things up a notch. So once 2025 starts, look out, folks. Look out. We are taking everything to the next level. Whatever that level is, we are taking it there. We are taking it to the next level for sure. All right. Super fly. Joining us on YouTube. Let's go, Vinny. Fantastic. All right. I'm a half hour behind here, but that's okay. That is okay.
Time to get happy. It's time to get funky. It's time for us to smile. Because here comes Max Spunky.
All right, McSpunky in the house. Guilty of thinking y'all are awesome. Bringing a smile to our face. Cleansing the palate just a little bit from all the murder and mayhem, that red rum and mayhem we need to talk about all the time here on the channel. Great to see you, McSpunky. Fantastic. All right. So once again, streaming live on Facebook, Twitch, X, my YouTube, and the Court TV YouTube as well. Welcoming anyone and everyone. I am trying to just scoot this thing a little bit forward so I can get to some of the newer comments. Gen X, I can never use my own son for reasonable doubt and point the finger to him. I just don't understand that unless she truly believed it was him. That's a great question. Under what circumstances would you implicate your own child? This family was different. This family was broken. Now, the child had already pointed the finger at her. So she's just pointing it right back at him. So there is that. There is that part of it. But it's really sad. I mean, this family should really be enjoying life. You have this great farm estate where all the kids and the grandkids and everyone can come and enjoy themselves and spend times together. And it's just, it's not going to happen. The family, I don't know how they recover from this, the kids. Sharon Rose Walker. Once the verdict was read, she took off her pearl earrings. She was still worried about money. Well, she knew she was going to be locked up. And once you're locked up, you don't wear all that stuff on the inside. So you got to take it off anyway. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt on that moment. And she may even been told that you have to take it off, but interesting, right? She liked nice things, and Gary provided nice things. Lori lies. Menendez's mother let it happen. Okay. Yeah, I get it. I get it. But why take her out? Why take her out? You're just angry with her? It's not you don't need any protection from her. I mean, the only thing that happens once the Menendez mother is gone is that you now get all the money directly. It doesn't have to go through your mother. But I mean, if the mother's the enabler, I mean, arguably she could also be a victim of Jose. I mean, that's not clear. We're presuming all of this, right? That she is not also some sort of a victim of Jose behind closed doors. If the kids were, why is it not possible that she was as well? But she's not here to speak up for herself. But she was no threat. She was no physical threat to the boys. So that's the problem I have with the Menendez brothers is taking out mom. Kathleen Foley Clement, can you play the verdict yet? I'm just tuning in. Tune in tonight. Tune in to my show, 8 o'clock tonight. We'll have it for you. 8 o'clock, Court TV, closing arguments with me, Vinnie Politan. We'll do it live. If you don't have it on your TV system where you are, or you don't have a digital antenna, you can watch us at courttv.com and just, stream live now and watch the show, Kathleen. Actually, I don't have it handy with me right at this moment, but it's a very dramatic reading because of the way it went down. And this is Frida Penn. Vinny, she looked like she was gonna puke. Yeah, I think she believed that she had a real chance to go home, and she did, because the jury had said we're locked, which means in the morning that you have at least one and maybe 11 that are on your side. And Karen with the big question: how'd she get him to the burn pile? She's 125 and he was 300. Yeah. Now, here's what's interesting, right? Like, that's a circumstance of all this, right? So that could be a circumstance from your perspective that raises a reasonable doubt. However, it is not something that needs to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. The only thing that needs to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt are the elements of the crime, not all the circumstances surrounding the crime. And the prosecutor threw out a couple things like the ATV and the tractor. I have no idea. It's an unanswered question. And obviously it's something that I'll be talking about a lot tomorrow night with the defense attorneys on my show. Oh, Vinny, you were right. You said 3 days. Yeah, I think that's like the normal time under the theorem. Now, I'm not guessing when they're going to do it. I'm saying what a normal time of deliberation is. I would say this was even just a little smidgen fast. But yeah, it was 3 days. It was Monday afternoon. And I said once we got into like Tuesday afternoon, then it became a long deliberation. If it was Thursday or early Friday, that would have been quick, or even Friday afternoon would have been quick, but you have the Friday factor. But yeah, 3 days, we got it. All right, going to try to get to some more of these. A lot of great comments, but I'm still a half hour behind for whatever reason. I'm trying to scroll quickly, trying to get a little more current. All right, we've got a news conference on the Farris verdict coming up at 5:30. Okay, so we may end a little early here. Okay, Lori, I've addressed this, but I'll address it one more time because it's part of our system, unfortunately. I think the judge interfered with the jury. Now, the judge followed the law. I don't think that it's right. I don't think it's right either, but it's the law. They were hung and he told them they were chosen to come up with a verdict, so go back and make a decision. That bothered me. Yeah. Yeah. It bothers me. And it's one of these things that's like one of my issues that I kind of carry around with me that I don't like. On Facebook, Carol Merrill, I always believed she did it, but thought more likely they would be hung. Yeah. And I think you could think, but I just never be shocked by guilty. Carol Pennington, why did Melody never stand when the jury went in or out of the courtroom and everyone else did? Yeah, this is something else I'll talk to the defense attorneys about. Like, why are you not standing up? Like every trial I've covered, the most, the worst of the worst in terms of defendants, they all stand like it's a sign of respect. It's a little thing, but it's a big thing. It's a little thing, but it's a big. These 12 people are deciding the rest of your life. I get it, but I don't get it. If you know what I mean. I get it, but I don't get it. Oh, Oracle Priestess Naomi, bearer of victory. Very surprised. Okay. I could see surprised. Very surprised. Is getting close to shocked, but not quite there. Texas Stacy says they got it so wrong. Well, and Julie Foreman, who may be the foreperson, wow, she was not guilty. Scott is guilty. I get it. And I think the division with public opinion was probably 75-25 on this one. 70-30 maybe, with the reasonable doubt having the smaller number. Black Warrior Lures. How did you move the body? And Kim Shaw on Facebook. So glad the jury did their jobs. Let's see. All right, Florida here, 1, 2, 3. She should have spoke up and not took the whole rap. Right? Like that's something that you could attempt to use to negotiate less of a sentence. But I mean, with her age already, there is no sentence that is not going to result in her dying behind bars. There's no sentence. There's no deals to be made. All right. I'm trying to catch up. Every time I stop, I'm more behind. Brooklyn Janet. Brooklyn's in the house. When Melody told her lover Rusty that Gary was in the burn pile, at some point, she said he couldn't have been burned that much. Those words were the nail in the coffin for me. She's guilty. Yeah, that's and Rusty tried to recant that and later say, no, I had the time wrong on when that conversation was. But they have the phone records. They don't have the records of what was said. So that was very problematic for her. Very problematic. And Sherry Starkey, she said he was in the burn pile before anyone found her. According to Rusty. Vinny, blow your nose. Okay. I don't have a tissue. Do you have a tissue, John? I think Scott did a good thing I wasn't on the jury. No, Candace, you could be on the jury. You just have to you make your case. That's what you do. 12 people get together and they try to make their case. Denise, them phone calls did her in. And the tone of the phone calls too are very cagey. They don't, you know what I mean? Like just the tone. was not great either. What happens to all the money? I mean, it should go to the kids. I don't know if there was, I don't know what the will said. You know, there's the will. If you die without a will, which, believe it or not, a lot of lawyers don't have wills, believe it or not, then it would, it would go to the children, but she's not getting any of it. That's for sure. Jen W. So guilty. So guilty. Michaela Phillips, still lots of people saying it's Scott. Obviously, they didn't watch the trial. He has a proven alibi. And the alibi is based upon when you believe this actually happened, right? You have to agree on the TOD. If you agree on the TOD, then you start talking about alibis. But prosecutors have their theory. If you believe their theory, then yeah, he has an alibi. He's at Lake Lanier, which is an hour plus away down here in Georgia. At least his phone is there. But if you don't believe in the TOD, then the alibi is up in the air because you don't know what time you need the alibi for. But yeah, the way prosecutors presented it, they attempted to cover their bases, and obviously the jury agreed. Ooh, Raggedy Ann with a warning. Watch out, men, how you treat your wives. Everyone has a breaking point. Verbal abuse can get you. Nursey Dog Mom. It was more than one thing for me. The well-conducted orchestra and chess game alluded to. Innocent people don't talk like that. Exactly. Christy, you've really underlined Christy Bokel Gutler. It's justice if, in fact, Melody is the one who committed the crime, but it's devastating if she was innocent. Oh, absolutely. The worst case scenario in our system of justice is when someone who is factually innocent gets convicted, especially of a charge like this, because it's an end game, not getting out. Oh, absolutely. It's more than devastating. It's a travesty. Chaos posthumous Turinus. Have you prosecuted any similar cases to this, Vin? No. I was fortunate or unfortunate. I was a prosecutor in a very safe county, Bergen County, New Jersey, where the homicide squad was one senior prosecutor, period. End of story. There wasn't even a team. There was one who handled all of them because there just weren't a lot of them in Bergen County. So, no, I did not. Oh, here we go. Holly Mack. I was raised on, I'm going to say this with a little bit of an accent, if you don't mind, Holly. It'll be bad, but it'll be fun. I was raised on a farm and my mom was small like Melody. She was strong as any man. Add in all the farm equipment that moves large things, and there you have how she did it. And I reckon she would know how to do it. Thank you, Holly. Yeah, I mean, if you're on a farm, on a working farm, and there's equipment and you kind of, you know your way around. Like I would not know my way around any of that stuff. So you couldn't pin this one on me. But if that's where they lived and she knew, then she knew. So if you know, you know. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we've got a new member. Let's bang the gavel. There you go. We're banging the gavel. Is that the daintiest banging of the gavel ever? Katie McKinnon became a YouTube member over on the Court TV YouTube. Thank you so much, Katie. And don't forget, there's different levels of membership, so enjoy it. Enjoy it. Welcome to the club. Great to have you aboard. Candace Hickman, Karen Reed's jury got sent back twice. Did they not? I agree on we don't agree. Yes, they did get sent back twice. And I was not loving it when that was going on. Wait a minute. Vinny, what does Melody have in common with Mary Winkler and Andrea Yates? A riddle. Mary Winkler was the one who took out her preacher husband who would make her wear the stripper shoes, right? Wasn't that Mary Winkler? Andrea Yates, we know, was the one from Texas who drowned the children and was found not guilty by reason of insanity. Mary Winkler, I believe, was convicted. I believe she was convicted, maybe of something less, and I think she's out. But I don't know. I don't know what they have in common. Don is going to have to tell us, and hopefully I'll get to that post because I'm... Brooklyn Janet, Vinny, I disagree. Going back to T. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. I wish I knew what that meant. Going back to T. All right. Neil, guilty. Justice was served. It's that simple from Neil. All right. Ant, no. Juries are afraid to make the decision. If they can't, they should not take the job. But I agree to a scorecard. Maybe majority should rule. I felt she was guilty. No, it's got to be unanimous. That's what makes our system so great. That's what really protects innocent people from being convicted. You know, if it's a civil case, if it's a wrongful death case, then it could be a majority, but in most jurisdictions. But a criminal, it's got to be unanimous. I'm a firm believer in it being unanimous. But if you are going to be hung, I think both sides should know what the score was, so a decision can be made about a retrial and whether or not to have a retrial, or if there should be some sort of a deal. Yeah, Patty Franklin, they may have been hung on one or two counts. I was worried about another Karen Reed scenario. Oh, yeah, for sure. Again, because our system, my system, does not communicate enough. And Kelly, Vinny, why are you working on your day off? Today's not my day off. Today's Monday, isn't it? Is today Monday? I have work today. I have a show, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, live tonight, 8 o'clock, Kelly. It is not my day off. I think next Monday we'll have a day off because I believe that's Veterans Day observed next Monday and the courts are closed. Jillian Marchioli, this one was obvious. Lori Hayes, by his wife, not his family, Vinny. Yeah, but a wife is a member of your family. A part of the family. They're all members of the family. It was a family. He was the patriarch of the family. She was the matriarch of the family, both members of the family. But I get what you're saying. She's the one responsible, not the entire family. Agree. All right. Gina Maria Italiano. Hey, Paisan, the fact that this happens breaks my heart. Family wrecked. A family. Now, regardless of what the verdict is, like someone did it, right? Someone took him out. Someone within the family decided to destroy the family. And that's not good. And Beck is watching from Ireland today. Hello, Beck. This is a great point, too. Bayou Bijou. Gary was too good of a provider. No one in the family had an incentive to do anything. Was he getting ready to cut someone off? Was he getting ready to file for divorce for cause? Was he going to litigate the divorce to try to lessen the amount of money that his wife would get? All that is very possible, but we don't know. Nursey Dog Mom, she said to Rusty, "You're going to put the nail in my coffin," right? So are those the words of an innocent person or of a guilty person? I think it can be interpreted both ways, but Lori watching on X. Hey, Vinny. What's up, Laura? Now, this is interesting. Lower Acorn, I think Gary was already at the burn pile when Melody shot him. That's possible, too. I don't think they had found evidence there of that, but would the evidence be destroyed in the burn pile? Right? And Lori Gray also on X. Her attorney told her not to stand. That's what he said. He said, and I'm going to ask more about that and kind of, go through it a little bit more. Okay, so Chat BW, but Vinny. I know it says Bonnie, but I think there's an autocorrect for Bonnie because there's a lot of Bonnies that pop up on text messages I get and on comments. Isn't that the reason we have juries? There's always differences. Yes, if everyone sticks to their beliefs, then there would be hung juries every time. I do see your point as well, though. Well, yes, but this is after, 11 hours of deliberations. It's like the jury saying that we're stuck, not the jury saying that, we took a vote, 5 minutes in and we don't agree. Like it's after, a considerable amount of deliberation. Our system is afraid that we'd get too many hung juries. The system really is afraid of that. And because of that, they are very dishonest in what they say. And I'll make an analogy for you. We have a Supreme Court that is somewhat divided, has always been divided by different numbers and different directions through the years. But there are those Supreme Court justices who have a very conservative view of the Constitution, a very literal view of the Constitution. And there are those who don't, who have a much more liberal construction of that and a more liberal view of what their job as a justice is. And inevitably, they will see cases differently. And what I'm saying here is that the Supreme Court will often have their conclusion and then try to figure out a way to back it up. And judges do this as well, because judges come from a certain perspective. They come to their conclusion on what they think the decision should be, and then they back it up with whatever evidence and law that they need. Okay? Same thing here is happening. Like this jury instruction, like they know that you shouldn't have an instruction like this, but they know that we need it to get more verdicts. So they come to the conclusion that we want juries to come to a conclusion and have a verdict at the end of the case. So how can we interpret the law so we can force a jury to go back after they say that they're hung? And that's the way this has developed. I'm taking you behind the curtain, folks. These are things that most judges, lawyers, they're not going to tell you. But we know. Like judges make decisions. Like you go to any courtroom, like I practice in New Jersey, and Friday was sentencing day. And there'd be 20 cases on the docket. And the judge has already written out his sentence for all 20 of them. Yet we are standing there making arguments in front of him or her about what the sentence should be. And the judge listens to us both and says, thank you, and then reads the sentence. So those arguments meant nothing. Like the judge made up his or her mind and has already backed it up. A lot of that happens in our system of justice. It happens with the Supreme Court. It absolutely does. And in these political cases that you're seeing go to courts, liberal judges rule one way, conservative judges rule a different way. That's just, it is what it is. Because most rulings, not all, but most rulings, you can back it up one way or the other. Like you can come to your conclusion and figure out a way how to get there. When what you're supposed to do is like, where do the facts and law take me? No, they begin at the destination and then figure out how to get there. It's part of the dishonesty of our system of justice that I never liked. All right. I'm going to have to wrap this up because I got the big show tonight. We got like 5,600 people watching. Amazing, amazing. Linda Sue 62. Vinny, I'm curious if Melody would still get Gary's life insurance money, et cetera, while being in prison for red rumming. No money for you. Slayer statute. No money for you. Sherry Taylor, Vinny, new to your channel. Love it. Thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Getting a lot of love today. All right. I'm just going to try to roll through a few more of these. Michelle Ebel. Martha was the key witness for me. I believe her that the nug was missing. She called the defense with a heavy heart because she thinks MF is guilty. There you go. There you go. Kat wondering what Amanda feels now. She said innocent until proven guilty. Mom's been found guilty. Where does she stand now? Great question. Thank you, Kat. And maybe she may see the evidence differently than the jury. I don't know. April Diaz, have a great night, sir. Thank you, April. Thank you for the support, as always. As always. All right. I'm just going to scroll. How far behind? I'm still a half hour behind. This is ridiculous. I never caught up today. I never caught up. So I'm going to scroll, keep scrolling. Renee Russell. Thank you, Renee. That is a glam shot. All right. I got to save my voice too. Feeling a little bit on a Monday, losing my voice on a Monday. That's not good. All right. Vicky Thomas. What a horrible way for a husband and father to die. What a horrible way for a husband and father to die. Absolutely, Vicky. That was my point. Like, this should not have happened. This family, whatever the differences are, air your grievances. It is what it is. If you need to split up, you split up. Be fair in the divorce. Figure a way out, and then just live the rest of your lives and do it for your kids, do it for your grandkids. And the grandkids got a convicted grandma. That's tough. That is tough. That is really. All right. I'm almost caught up. I'm almost caught up. I've scrolled through hundreds of great messages. Lisa Thomas, Vinny, we're aging together. Regarding the jurors, you never know how you judge a person until you're on a panel. I'm sure some jurors want to see the best in people. Yeah, I served on a jury. It was a civil case, but man, I felt bad for everybody. It was a doctor it was a malpractice. I felt bad for the patient. I felt bad for the doctor. The doctor was an amazing doctor. The patient was an awesome guy. But in the end, I did not deliberate, but the rest of my jurors found no liability in that case. And I was like, I don't know if I could have done that, but I did. I thought the doctor was amazing. It was a case involving, I'll give you real quick. The patient was at work and had the tips of 3 of his fingers chopped off on a machine. They put him in ice water. The doctor went to reattach him. 1 finger could not be reattached because the tendon just wasn't there. 2 others were. And in the 2 others, they were transposed. So like the middle fingertip was here and the ring finger, the ring fingertip was here and the middle fingertip was here. They were transposed. And they found no liability for that. It's a longer story. There's another, I think I did a video on it, so you could find it. But it's tough. It is very, very tough being on a jury because you really, you want to do the right thing and you feel bad for the folks. You want to do the right thing. All right, bang the gavel. Genuine Heidi, the silent gavel. Welcome. Congratulations. Great to have you aboard on the Court TV YouTube channel. All right. It's 5:46, folks. I got to go. Got to end the show because I got to get ready for the other show tonight. 2 hours live, true crime. So for those of you who don't know, if it's your first time, I am type 1 diabetic. So at the end of the show, there's no prize involved, just the glory. You have to guess what my blood sugar is, okay? You have to guess what my blood sugar is. My day is a little weird. I had a little bit of a malfunction with the machine, and I ended up with a real high blood sugar. Then at around 4 o'clock, it came crashing down, and I've been trying to stabilize it since. So I was really high. Then it came crashing down, and it was low. So low, I didn't start the show till 4:40. By 4:40, I started to feel okay. Now I feel fine. So those are the only clues I can give you because, folks, it is that time of the program where it's time to guess what's his blood sugar.
Here's a type 1. He's type 1. His pancreas is on fruits. He has diabetes, type 1 juvenile diabetes. And so it's time to guess, is more or less.
Pretty close, Anita.
What's his blood sugar? What's Vinnie's blood sugar?
Boom, Gilbert!
70, he gets lightheaded. Under 60, all the alarms start ringing.
Woo, Gilbert!
Over 100, he starts to get lethargic.
Well done.
But when it's 90, Vinnie, eyes are singing. And so it's time to guess, is more or less. What's his blood sugar? What's Vinnie's blood sugar? But take a guess. Yes, take a guess. Let's guess Vinnie's blood sugar now.
All right, folks, there you have it. 120, which is solid. If I could be 120 24 hours a day, I would do it. And I would be amazing. Let's do this. That is it. So tonight, 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, Vinnie Politan closing arguments, verdict coverage. 9 to 10, Vinnie Politan investigates. We'll be talking about the Delphi case. Amazing developments in that trial. All the updates. Remember, no cameras, no microphones, but Court TV is there. That is 9 to 10 tonight on Court TV, your front row seat to justice. Big thank you to the Mod Squad. Thank you to everyone for watching, all the great super chats, great comments. I'm Vinnie Politan. Have a great, great night. And as always, please don't forget to hug the kids.
Get ready, get set, let's go.
It's true crime, streaming live, worldwide. It's Vinnie Live. It's true crime, streaming prosecutor hat, get set. To like and to subscribe, let's go. It's time for Vinnie Live.